I'm playing a person in the black phone who's utterly broken. It's like somebody took a hammer to the computer of his brain. I often like to say that I like to pretend I'm my character's lawyer and just see everything through his point of view, but I wouldn't want to be the grabber's lawyer, because the grabber is not going to win anything. There's something fascinating about somebody who is so evil and malevolent and clearly so ashamed of themselves that they don't even want to be seen in any capacity or witnessed. And there's a sense about when you wear a mask, it gives you a false sense of power. That's like that nobody can see the real you, and that kind of gives you a freedom that is borderline insane on its own. And so I was in uncharted territory for myself as an actor. I was fascinated. The director, Scott Derrickson, had this idea that the mask should come in parts, and that when he really wants to communicate, maybe he leaves the mouth part off, and when he really wants to see, he leaves the eye part clear, or is it just a form of intimidation? But it allowed for us to use the mask in a strange way to create a new kind of villain.
My favorite part of the mask is how it's basically the grabber's whole like character. It adds so much to it, and I feel like the best part of the grabber is the mystery, you know? Like how the mask switches out sometimes. You can really, you can see his emotions, but you can't at the same time. It's also like he's kind of trying to trick you or something. So yeah, the mask is definitely super terrifying when you see it in person.
But you know, you look at the great iconic villains, Heath Ledger's Joker, Hannibal Lecter. You know, these are characters who don't have a backstory. You don't know why they are the way they are. You know, if the Dark Knight actually told us the truth about how do you think I got these scars, you know? If you want to know how I got these scars, if he actually told us the real story, he'd be way less menacing. He'd be way less scary. If there was a scene in Silence of the Lambs where we were told this is why Hannibal Lecter eats people, you know, he'd be less scary. So I think that you have to have a real mystery and trust the mystery of an abhorrently behaving character. And so the key is make them interesting, fascinating in the present, make them dangerous, horrific in the present, but then be willing to not do the typical movie development thing and try to explain why they are the way they are. Let them be mysterious.
What was really cool was right behind the basement, because the basement's on a sound stage, there was like this little platform, and that's where they could actually talk to me on the phone. So I heard them on the phone, which helped me a lot. So that was really cool. It was a really cool mechanism. So everything in those scenes were all real, which is pretty cool.
I know there's things on apps and there's programs that you can use in editing to make things look like Super 8. Nothing looks and feels like actual Super 8 film. It's very grainy, and when you blow it up, especially on the big screen, the grain is very peculiar. The color, the way it captures color is different. There's just something about it to me that is the way it has always felt to me. And this includes like the Super 8 films that I would find that my grandfather shot, that I would watch on the home projector when I was a kid, you know? They always feel a little creepy to me. They just feel a little unnerving. They feel unsettling. They feel like they've captured something that maybe they weren't supposed to capture. There's something about the aesthetic that's really unique. So I became very fascinated with that on Sinister, and then I felt like Gwen's dreams in The Black Phone, in looking back on the lives and abductions of these different kids, I thought it was a great medium to separate it from the rest of the visual material of the movie.
I had a dream about it. Please let the dreams be real. During the table read, or all the table reads that we did, we made sure to really talk about the intense scenes that we were going to do. And what was amazing about Scott is that before every intense scene or difficult scene, he would have a really good conversation with us. Like if we ever needed a break or to get water, because there's a lot of screaming and crying and everything. But I think with Finney and Gwen, because their dad is an alcoholic, so they've been through so much together, and they really have to rely on each other throughout the film.
It's very different than other actors. You know, he's my favorite actor I've ever worked with, and you know, with most actors, you have to spend some real time figuring out how to talk to them. And actors are very emotional people. They are the big emotional engines, and they all sort of need to be talked to in different ways. And Ethan's not like that in the sense of he's such a well-rounded artist. You know, he's a novelist in his own right. He's a filmmaker. He's a producer. He does all kinds of things. And I found myself early on in Sinister realizing I can just talk to this guy straight without ever having to worry about, you know, giving him an angle of understanding. And I think we just understood each other, and we became very good friends. We stayed friends until now. And when I gave him the script for the Black Phone, I just said, I think you could crush this, and this is why. And he read it and he agreed to do with it. And I didn't give him a lot of direction on it. He really understood that character and really brought that character to the set and just did what he did.
One of the things I like about working with young people is they're not far removed from what acting is at its core, which is just a sense of play. I'm gonna imagine I'm a demon from hell. You are a young person and you can communicate with the dead from this phone. Go! You know, and you...
Right.
And he was so excited to be in a movie and to like do these scenes. I had some nervousness coming to set. What's it going to be like to try to terrify this young person and everything? But it might surprise people to know that it was really fun because kids love a good scary story. You know, they love it. I've been trapped in the dungeon for days, you know, and they get into it and it's a little contagious. And the whole thing of acting stops being pretentious or important or anything but a sense of joy. And like, so even the darkest of emotions can be played with fun.
He is so incredible. He is the nicest person ever. He would just, even after a super hard scene and scary scene with him in the mask and me in the basement, and he was just talking to everybody on set with the mask on. It's like a normal person. He's, you know, having a good time, and they're just terrified for their life. But yeah, he's such an incredible person, and I'm so fortunate to be able to work with him.